Being real. Being real is performative. Being real is understanding how the fuck to take care of yourself. The dichotomy of being real in that way is hood rat, hoochie mama, unkept woman. Being real, from my understanding at a young age, was the ability to cuss somebody out and tell them, until Dave Chappelle got a hold of that, and then like his skit, I think, for most, I wouldn't say for most, but not many in my world get that skit. What being real gets you in terms of hood rat culture, or what is stereotypical black. Also, to like toughen up the culture in a different way, we had uprisings that created the ability for Native Americans in South Dakota to be real. Thanks to the AIM movement, there's a lot of people fucked around and found out about that tribe, and the stoicism got unleashed. And to this day, they do stupid shit to those people to try to contain them. Being real to me today is understanding and validating my emotions, and it was fucking messy. So if you have, because I really do, like, I do give a rat's ass about what, if you are surfing on here and you're new to these arenas on the internet, there, like, there's all kinds of shit on here that you do need to take precaution on. And that's not a joke. That's not an exaggeration. It's pretty. I always contemplate about the content and the guidance that I want to put out for people in asking for money, due to how many people are being swindled in the name of spiritual enlightenment. Being real in that arena is all of it. Spiritual enlightenment is all of it. And so you may get somebody swindling or not being really clear with you because they're not really understanding what the fuck you're doing. And if you are in those eras, I think younger people somewhat, not the ones that have the little controls where they can fuck with your energy with their phone, but they're the ones that's usually stuck with the grandmas, so they don't understand, and they're gonna judge you and act accordingly. Sometimes lie about you. What what to understand about spirituality? It is available to everyone in multitudes of perspectives already. And what happened with that is that it began in chunks, groups, dynamic. Now it is becoming more and more a individual preferential expression of what that is. So if you understand what being real is, it's not somebody online is going to push you away from performative. You need performative for online. You really do. And if you can be real on here just like that, that's amazing. Do it. That I would say that. But that's the nature of spirituality. You may get somebody that used to do really bad things or sell people bad things, but now they're on TikTok and still have that twinkle in their eye and the ability to manipulate energy to get you to buy something from them. I think the people that I'm talking to are those who noticed in childhood. And some of you have awakened or went through somewhat of a process to understand and learn that it's up to you. Like it's up to you. Go crazy, but make sure you have the ability to come back. And spiritual psychosis has a lot to do with not having the ability to be malleable enough to understand what is being unpacked in front of you. And like it's like the denial of the experiences, or in my case, what was taking me into somewhat of a psychosis was definitely an image of, it was like a whole illusion dressed around my practice of manifestation. And I wrote a lot of fantasies and weird off the wall shit that I didn't know people. So that the psychosis in it is that seeing and understanding that people were utilizing devices to simulate my understanding of a law of attraction process or an awakening process. That it kind of fucked me up, and I'm just now recovering from it. So right now, drop your grounding cord. It's like a color that you can imagine at the base of your spine. Drop it all the way down into Mother Earth. Mother Earth has a middle core and it's lava. And I call the sun lava. We're going to bring energy from the cosmos. And we're going to go ahead and let that sun lava magnetize as well your own energies you may have left anywhere. Bring it into that gold sun and allow that sun to release any energies that are not going to serve you moving forward. And as those energies are coming back into your body, you are going to release energies that do not serve you. We used to say for your highest good, but you want a frequency to have the ability to be aware of your surroundings, what people's intentions are, and to understand and know to hone and strengthen your energetic hygiene so that others do not have, or other people help themselves to any of your experiences, energy, destinies. I say destinies in a way that there are established static destinies, and basically it's in the static worlds where you're not hopping portals and shit. You're going to work every day, or doing your art on the land. Static. I might have lost it. So bring that energy back into the top of your head and let Mother Earth energy, because whatever energies fell down your grounding cord, we're just going to leave that there. We're going to bring Mother Earth energy, color of your choice, up through, meeting at the base of your spine in that first chakra. And then we're going to go spin it, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. And just allow those energies to burst out of the top of your head. And if you cannot see it, utilize your imagination. That is just as good. So, protecting your energy. There are several different meanings people have on these things, and they will take your money if you do not get that they may be exclusive. I've had people just try to hint and be like, okay, good, like, and then they were like, rejection is protection. Rejection is protection. I'm finally understanding because I'm giving myself the space and time to digest. As my exploration of spirituality online began with heartbreak, disappointment. It also, as it became a crutch in handling that, it also helped me release thought processes, intentional to be highly destructive to me. So this is where I am at, where let's the be real thing. I'm actually right now working through energetic blocks, financial blocks that are finally loosening up. And I've had to work with this, I think, longer than like it's drug out because of the awareness of that type of work and that it exists and it not being a match to my current reality. So in terms of porting or some like astral traveling, but it's in a really unhealthy way. Quantum jumping, when basically you just let your energy go do whatever the fuck it wants, and you do your best to soothe your body and do things that will distract you from harming others or yourself. In that, there is a lot of people who are doing really dangerous things with people's emotions. And it is probably in your best interest to understand the reality of protecting your energy, as simple as saying, I return energies that are not mine. I return problems that are not mine. I return karmas that are not mine. And I trust that this energy, as well as the energy of God or a higher power of mine, is intelligent enough to know what to do with that. I call back energies that are mine from every person, place, thing, point of sale system, video game console, computer tower, cell towers, cell providers, cell phones. Ooh, I haven't done that one in a while. And if you don't feel it viscerally, give yourself time and practice and enjoy that shit. That's kind of where it's like, there was at one point I did not have such large effects of being affected on that level. Like it takes a while to get used to, and I have a feeling, like it actually will start getting easier and easier for people because more people are practicing, and that is always your goal with any kind of energetic work or practice. I promise you, You do not want to get caught up with anybody who's trying to utilize spirituality or spiritual practices for the purpose of swindling, hustling. There are magical ways that are semi ethical just due to the ways people get information. And so basically, the performative parts, if you are conscious of what you're doing and understanding any harm that comes from you, um, there's like spiritual karmic repercussions. And so the phrase, if you've heard that yet online, protect your energy. You have all these practitioners, not really, like drinking the Kool-Aid of others' misguidance and teachings, not understanding that like they may have utilized that energy to outwit a human, but you cannot outwit basically, I want to say like the caretakers, you can't outwit God basically. And as you do your exploration of being God, you want to maintain, especially if you have not gone through a borderline or an actual psychotic fucking break and learning about life and one of many of its facets of reality. So that the energy that we called back from all those video games and stuff, we're going to bring that down through the top of our head. And this is a practice that will help you start understanding the power of meditation, the power of focus. Like right now, I am focusing on that energy running through my first chakra down my legs and going all the way down, meeting with earth energy, coming back up and allowing it to spin around, come out my arms, cleaning out the chakras in my hands, and doing a little foot bendy thing to massage that energy in the bottoms of my feet. And as I bring my energies back, I now intend that all contracts, agreements, and agreements made in my ignorance for the purpose of use of my energy in any way is null and void and is on fire due to the misappropriation and misuse of it by those who actually do know better and choose not to know better while passing the ball or the buck or the bill to the next guy and the next person, and intending that your people do so in extreme distress. And that's the point of the being real in this conversation. It's okay to be performative for the purpose of having the ability to generate an income for yourself. And matter of fact, if you start now, if you are an obedient follower of something in any society, you want to start, because as you start to embark upon creating a different culture, lifestyle. Culture might be a trigger, so that we're not doing it totally different. But as you embark upon your own accountability to support yourself in multitudes of ways that is available, creating and making money brings about glitches, uh, matrix disruptions. Some of the gang stalking stuff has everything to do with some of you doing things that your family, that not only you're the first in your family, like some of you have people who literally like spent their whole like lifetime, like there's people who spent lifetimes, a whole lifetime, to try to anchor their lineage and their bloodline in that timeline, in that time frame, in wealth and safety, and you know, basically snugger than a pig's ass. um, and so this is why we get a lot of rich people who dodge or will try to make you feel bad because they're not, like that's the attempt at employment to help people meditate through basically their, or distract themselves from these deep seated wounds so that we're not creating more of it because we are that powerful. Sometimes our thoughts and our actions and everything that we do gets recreated. And since we have a lot of energy in those past, in our past around some of the things that we are bringing to attention these days, there's a tendency for people in the know or elders to not want to discuss that. That is an aspect or an example of keeping it real. And as you may assume and yell, and some of these people lost their lives for this shit because and on top of that, it is part of the cycle because a lot of people, if you looked into their background, are part of misguiding general public while being okay with antagonizing them while they're living in poverty. So there's like a general assumption that these powers were not into the dirty horror earth plane. Like this, I mean, like that is kind of the reality of the thought processes that we're working through. And if you were beaten into submission or just on an intuitive level understood everybody around you is fucked because of what they do, that's a hard way to be. And it's a hard way to live. And then, embarking upon any seeking endeavors these days, I think it might have always been like that. However, I feel pretty sheltered compared to what has been, like what I've am digesting now. And so like the point of this discussion is to assist with the mental and the emotional attachments that we have one way or another, because like disappointment will generate a person to not want to plan or dream anymore. A lot of times those the pop culture in general is a holder of throwaway souls. That's why they're so awesome. But basically is the container for the rejects. And if you're not understanding that some of these cultures actually help each other to tolerate each other by abusing each other. This is for those newer ops spy type of people. Um, and I just honestly, I don't know about, I don't know about it yet. I actually am digesting the fact that that has, like I was like, well, it was like a past relationship, and I was like, this look, like, and I don't attract drama in my life. I focused on the very thing that I get to teach you under my circumstances. So there is a lot of contemplation. There is a lot of getting in my head. There is a lot of overthinking and not a lot of as compulsive as it could be actions. What I found with my experiences, spirituality should not be used as a band-aid or a solace, because it is the exact opposite. And to keep in mind, not all people in the know actually know. We get facets of what we can handle and what our physiology allows us to see and process. And that what I've noticed is that there are strong pulls, as well as like sentient based AI, to bring bring about justice and balance around poverty. Poverty in general, and it actually is especially happening as we speak with children. I just so happen to get the end of this stuff where I'm not on anyone's side and understand raise my kids to understand their personalities enough to know and have witnessed what happens to kids when parents cover for them with dysfunctional shit. And so I've been put in a rock and a hard place around relationship for a long time, around these things and these types, like understanding energy and belief systems and cultural and energy practices, like understanding those as it like opposite of what people do and fight for the belief of it or whatever. I maintain the belief of those because I benefited from each and every one of those practices by acknowledging what has actually helped, without, because I learned going into things that were intentional for you to lay a strong foundation for your own creativity. Became, like it doesn't always end up that way. And so another way real reality is, if everything's energy and you have a body, you're gonna have to choose your body, because your energy will automatically nourish your body. So if it messes with you that you are a soul having a human experience, and if it's bringing about ideations and shit like that, you need to let go of exploration. And sometimes invasive thoughts come from coded, programmed environments that are like actually designed by children. So there's a lot of unethical types of experiences in those. I would say experiences in terms of invasive thoughts. It's another benefit of getting to know you and feeling fully supported in developing what that is because being exposed to the probability that you hit an application, a browser, a kid with a phone, that you encounter any of those things could cause an imbalance in your own body. And so some of these people have devices that affect your energy to the point of it manifesting as something negative in your body. And so knowing how to developing and knowing how you can signal that to yourself and creating lifestyle pathways to actually achieve that is key. And I did talk about people utilizing energetic, like they call it snake oil, utilizing energetic practices in ways to take from people rather than assist them. What is occurring with that is that it is allowed for each individual to create their own format of what they're experiencing. If you decide to trademark and copyright your work, there is like an unseen aspect of spirituality. And it is, I would call it, a self-regulating system. That's where some of the tarot readers and some of the energy workers and stuff get highly entertaining, especially if they're doing harmful shit to you. Because energy is intelligent. And people who utilize energies in these ways have a tendency to assume what they're working with is just as stupid as you are. Which sometimes vicariously bystanding ignorance is actually because these things are smart and now we have simulations of them, will utilize you to clean house. And so having a thicker skin while developing your sensitivity is a need. And we've been flying at the seat of our pants, allowing people to vicariously fucking experiment on us. And most likely, if you're being experimented on, you've subscribed or agreed to some fucking organization or and there's some truth to military people. My dad was military. And I have a very colorful array palette of choices of types of childhood trauma we can choose from, but there's also another side to all of that is highly powerful. And in being aware of what I told you about your mind and how that can be interfered with and interrupted, almost missed it. So, understanding your emotions and how to work through these things, I don't think anybody is deliberately, intentionally trying to trick humanity or you or anybody else. Sometimes it boils down to a decision that you have to make to support yourself, keep yourself with shelter and food. Like there's, like there are people who literally cannot do the Buddha crawl or walk and not capable. And I honestly don't think it's necessary to challenge people in that way because it brings about resentment and an entitlement to other people's stuff, energy. Like it brings about an entitlement that's not okay. People do this stuff all the time. And so for those who are not veering towards their herd, their stock crew, their pack, and noticing some of this stuff will interpret, or like some people have, but like have had vicariously some really nasty shit happen to them and will interpret the world as a terrible place. Because in some sense they are experiencing a world. It's just not the world. And what I found in these things, that there is a tendency to it creates a disconnecting effect where it's like, and you end up kind of being controlled by your frequency, and these types of things actually can be deactivated, dismantled, and released. By just mere intention. You don't have to be special or powerful or chosen. And a lot of decisions that people have made around devices and energy have been made in quantum jumps that were taken, that people have taken a risk on in heavy generational woundings that got triggered by relationships, most likely of the opposite sex. Welcome to reality. So drop that grounding cord, because that was a lot that I dropped on you. Drop that grounding cord, that color, the base of your spine, whatever color you want it to be. Drop it into the core of Mother Earth. When you practice that, create it, drop it. Create it, drop it. Create it, drop it. You are creating a way to create a focused ability to understand and witness and command energy. So it becomes a meditative practice. The more you do it and put your signature on it, the more you have a creative, unique to you style that actually can be lucrative. My goal in all of my ignorance was to have the ability to be transparent about the steps in the middle, the stuff that nobody talks about. And when we talk about these things, this is how we give people the actual choice as to what they like, as to whether or not the work between the exchange between the two or three or a crew is going to be beneficial. There's a lot of people like, so this is another understanding about energy though, and energy work, and why people seem to get away with only telling half truths. And the people will say they assumed that it's like they're tricking universal laws. But what I started realizing more and more than anything, it is a lack of aware, like like they had some of that shit right, where like, oh, we'll just tweak it, get like tell them they have to jump through those fire hoops to get this and this and this. However, you do want to strengthen your practice with fasting, like actual meditation to challenge yourself to sit still, exercise, and connection to nature. That enhances all of it. But if you are in a lifestyle choice that isn't conducive to this stuff, a lot of a lot of control tactics that are actually like have manifested to the point where like it's actually against the law in physical matter occurring, and a lot of people not really knowing what to do with children who needed protection, and found that, oh well, this works, so we're just gonna the more each individual takes personal accountability for your energy and understanding your preferences enough to know that the type of people that like that you jive with and that you can be around, the like the more easeful your life on earth can be. You got a lot of people claiming that like, oh, earth, that's earth school, that's like that's all simulation and imagination around the different planets and people who have created on behalf of those images, and how it connects to earth and levels of spiritual understanding and learning. So being real in all of this is understanding how to maintain value of somebody or something without it being such an extreme dependency and attachment that it persuades you or influences you to hurt yourself or others around those connections. And to understand some of the designs where people are doing really messed up stuff is potentially their preference in life, in living. And not every kid will thrive if you rip them from their upbringing. And we are entering into a cycle closing out that is going to help those who assist the vulnerable, that like that what people got in the habit of doing, to the point where like they have a digital footprint of it, and they've just been doing it for years. Like that's sometimes like those are your answers, is understanding some of these things that exist are finding ways to correct itself. And there's a lot of people who made a big mess in church and Catholicism and social services who are very clever to the point where they prolong the duration of their interactions with undesirable human experiences. And they literally, like, these are very intelligent, high ticket earning type of people, you know, like in the social services sector, and that, you know, like in the education realm, like there is like that weird pretension that occurs in those things. And these people literally, like, they have been, because of coding and programming their personalities, they literally don't get that some of their decisions around other people's lives is absolutely unfucking acceptable. And so energetically, this dynamic has been worked on for a long time. And I've noticed, you know, like since I was a kid, that there are a lot less atrocities. But once you start refining your awareness around all of it, and especially if you are a person coming at, where you get all these rappers fucking battling, and you know, like, and that's why we got MMA and football. Like, when you come on up, you start, it's not a pleasant experience to understand what people, it's understandable that they had that power to do it to begin with. What they actually are doing with it, and some of the discussions that I've had with police officers and elders that knew their ticket is due. You know, these old ass people, and like one guy was like, I'll just commit suicide. And so there are a lot of more swifter, quicker ways that these energies are teaching people these days. And one of the corrections is utilizing gain trust to actually appropriately teach people how to take care of themselves on a multi-dimensional level, starting with the finger paints in kindergarten, like using what we have, and that and I think that's the point in coding. That's the point in coding. Like, coding personalities is like using what we have, however, creating opportunity for growth and change with some of these heavy dynamics. I'm just noticing that, you know, like, the mistrust never really does go away. Even if you are financially fit, there's still, like, there's just multitudes of facets that emanates and emulates poverty. And in our current understanding of life, that is always reflected to us, because that is where some of these, you know, like, really wealthy people that hoard a lot of the money, and on top of that, hoard it, create marketing practices that is detrimental to people on an economic level. Like, detrimental. Like, people, like young people making apps to win a game because they're getting your attention and getting your money, not understanding that you're gonna pay for that. I noticed, I did see a meme where there was a dinosaur who was attacking another dinosaur, and and it was making fun of the concept of karma. But if you think about that interaction between those dinosaurs, it's taken care of like that. The cause and effect in a fight is like that. And it's become an awareness that the video gamers actually, there is a challenge in assisting them with having a connected point of view if they are going to coexist with any kind of humans anywhere. They may isolate. However, you do that with video games of your choice, and the power to create games. It turns into another fucking crisis that we're still working on with the matriarch, patriarch, and we're still working with that stuff. And people who have prospered off of this for years is still in this basic understanding that is highly destructive to them. And they assume they were setting themselves up for immortality. And so my goal with, drop that grounding cord one more time, as I wrap this up, grab your energy back into that big cold sun and bring that energy down through the top of your head and mix it with Mother Earth energy, allowing it to flow out that grounding cord that you made, your legs, up your torso, out your head, and out through your arms. And just reminding yourself that you have this bubble and going out, energetic bubble that is grounded in the same fashion that you created your grounding cord. Set intentions every day that my energy belongs to me. Any empowerments that belong to me stay with me. And those who choose to utilize unseen and seen harmful intentions or actions around anything that has to do with me, anyone that has to do with me, is blocked from having any kind of access to me. Unless, I would, at this point, I wouldn't even give any exceptions due to the fact that people in the flesh are appointed jobs that are literally simulating God. So that is how you protect your energy. The idea of being real is highly convoluted. And as you progress in understanding, we progress in understanding and building relationship. And a lot of people, some people will claim that I can't stand this or handle this and leave the country or live off the grid or go live, live off the land. Those are the ones that are Those are the ones that it is high time that people in general start understanding are not fucking trustworthy. They may be diligent and disciplined enough to have I have integrity on paper. However, you have people hoarding money and leaving the country and fleeing to live off the grid. They are most likely trying to avoid something that they can't avoid anyway. And understand moving forward, if you end up having any, or moving further into any kind of spiritual practice, I highly suggest staying away from indigenous based, like they kind of, like, I highly suggest staying away from controversial practices. And definitely do not make a decision to harm people with this stuff. It is, however, available to you to develop your own self-esteem and charisma and magnetism to have the ability to create what you want. A lot of these people get thrown into survival mode practices because they have lineages that have not fucking dealt with their generational wounds. And it's a consistent living in consistent survival mode. It takes time to slow down and understand and process and see. But like, if you are utilizing your life in your present day to understand that this energy exists and start working with it and understanding like subtle shifts and stuff, it will acclimate your nervous system to have the ability to be more empowered with it rather than depleted, used, depleted and used. And your like your innate resources. I learned that like there's literally people investing in people's health in a multitude of ways, and there's a lot of people who are stealing ideas from people and just using the information to be accountable. But like, there's a lot of people who are being harmed in people doing this, and it's like, and there are a lot of people who's like, oh, what? I didn't do anything wrong. Like, there are people, like, we're creating more and more people that think like that. And so, individual, and don't care whether or not they harm themselves or each other. So it's really important, if you have any kind of mission, any kind of goals, desires. It's still okay to get married these days, by the way. You just get to rewrite why and how. You're gonna want to start gathering the ability to be more aware of your body and your energy, and cultivate strong relationships around those topics, and to have foundationally strong relationships is the ability to be honest. And when groups of people engage in dishonest plans, strategies, builds, it takes a toll on that group. However, what I've noticed about that is it's, like, their soul, God, and whoever else wants them to go beyond what they're doing in life basically for the betterment. It doesn't feel like that at the time, and these people get it handed to them, but like, you know, like though they've designed their lives where they have no choice but to look at that stuff and formulate ways that is, you know, like, because it's not all positive either, but like there's just a lot of like mindless, ignorant, fucking around, like racist agendas, shit like that. Like, what I noticed about the use of technology by God, it is being utilized to abolish personality assumptions that we make that participate and assist with harmful agreements. And I just haven't yet. I think a lot of people these days are making decisions to accept agreements and gifts to do things to people, not understanding that the reason why another is willing to give up some of their earnings or whatever has everything to do with the bigger cost of the task that they're trying to put on you. And the day, like those days are slowly dwindling where that is acceptable, because we can't really turn back, you know, like the involvement with how people were manipulating other people, like, as there's like that's like, you can't turn back from that. It's like you gotta move forward with the accountability of those situations and heal. And it's designed for all people to have no choice but to. So the idea that you can take somebody else's place and, you know, like, and you're golden as long as they don't wake up or do better for themselves, like those ideas are in process of being dismantled and destructed. And it probably would have been substantiated if people remembered their humanity with these empowerments, and they didn't. And so the bright side of all of this is like looking forward to actually creating a foundation, an earth-based foundation where people actually have the resources to restore, and if they choose to carry another's baggage or wounds, it is no longer done under the agreement that it's at your total expense, your DNA expense, because it is creating imbalances with people that it's gonna get to the point where that shit's just embarrassing to admit that we even allowed ourselves and each other to bubble around like that for so long. So that is one of my practical ways of understanding what real is, because there are opinions about people being fake and shit like that, and there are, like, I've literally been stalked like by like one of those, like literally been stalked and have been called out as a fake when I have like I was not divulging anything that I was seeing or knowing in those arenas, because I'm like because the fact that people are doing that without permission is enough for me to understand that that's not a trustworthy activity. So to also be insulted around like my psychic ability around that, it's like these are the types of things that being tired, hungry, lonely, frustrated, little shit like that, where it's like, and you know, like that becomes highly agitating and could be a factor to react to if you are unaware of your temperament. And you know, like that, the fact that I was even around in that environment like was due to desperation and just needing a job. People are gonna do what they're gonna do, but this talk is about assisting you with understanding a way to think some of those decisions all the way through, and to give foundational examples to support you in making those decisions around what your actual preferences are, and to strengthen your emotional and, for now, earning capacity, so you are not at the whim of others in any of your journeys, whether it be you know, like whether it be a secular experience or a spiritual. And I'm learning like this, especially if you have any desire to work with technology for, you know, your phone book, your bank, like there's a lot of ways that understanding these basic awarenesses assists with how people use, like how assists with what people use, or using external things to I would say benefit, but like it's just like I'm not really like, I've got a long consistency list of people who aren't benefiting, and they never have. And as far as I can tell, sometimes it seems like they can't stop doing what they're doing. And I kind of like I've been in that energy on, you know, like without intentionally being there, and the like what was resolvable in that situation is simple. And it can be preventative if you know what the fuck, where you, like who you're dealing with. and building the actual ability to understand how to discuss an emotion or energy or energetic experiences will help you understand how to articulate a person utilizing technology to simulate that for the purpose of harassing or harming you. Again, to me, it's like, yeah, this does suck. However, it's like the push, the kick in the pants to actually hold ourselves and each other accountable, especially those who have been dodging accountability for generations.